Welcome back, everyone. The Civic has gone through like thousands of miles of driving on the same oil change, but it's done 9 days of racing on it as well. 3 in Iowa, and then 6 other days of back-to-back racing, which it should be okay, but it's time for an oil change. And the car is like a couple hundred miles away from being at 250,000 miles. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm actually going to cut the old oil filter open, and I'm going to check the element, and we're going to go through it, see if there's any like glitter or any metal chunks or anything that I should be concerned of. We're going to just examine the overall health of the engine. And for our oil change, we went and picked up some Castrol GTX 10W30. And then if you're wondering why my oil filter is in kind of a more generic box, if you go to Napa or O'Reilly's, you can actually get like a 10 or 12 pack of oil filters. It's really just their like more basic oil filters, just rebranded. They're still just as good, but you're buying them more in bulk, so they're a little bit cheaper. It's another way to save you some money. And once I have the car up on jack stands, I'll usually just grab the fender and I'll just kind of give it a good little shove just to make sure it's not going anywhere. And what I'll usually end up doing for my oil changes to make them easier is somewhere along the core support, I'll take a Sharpie and I'll write the filter number and the drain plug size. I can't do that here just because I don't have a core support anymore and there's not really anywhere to write it. I could do it up here, but since I had it written on the old core support, I have it memorized now, so I don't need to, but it's just something to make your life easier. Not trying to get oil on my glove. Oh, jeez. That's hot. That's not good. And then another thing that I'll always make sure I do whenever I change my oil is I'll always swap out the drain plug gaskets. These are pretty cheap. You can just pick them up at your auto parts store. But these are actually designed to like crush and kind of mold to the oil pan when you do them. So it's a good idea to swap them out every time. You don't have to, but it's a good idea. Alright, now it's basically come to a stop. So I'm going to throw in the old oil drain plug again. Gonna wipe it off. And just snug it up. It's an aluminum pan, so you don't want to go too hard. And you're done. The other thing that frustrates me is how bad my motor leaks oil. I just degreased this right before Autocross week, right before I went into tech. I don't want to be that guy getting oil all over the track, and normally it doesn't leak too bad, but when I was at Dragway 42 and then when I was at Brainerd, it was leaking real bad when the motor's really high strung for long periods of time. I think this is all from the cam seal. I've pretty much replaced every gasket on the motor except for the rear main seal. I know the oil pan doesn't leak because I used RTV on that and I used a lot, but I think what happens over time when these motors get really high mileage is the seals will actually wear a groove in your crankshaft or in the cam. So this is frustrating to me. It's not a huge deal, but I also don't want to be that guy who's just dumping crap all over the track, so it's frustrating, but I feel like I gotta figure out a way around this. And that was kind of a rarity, is me being able to take off the oil filter without needing a wrench. So I'm gonna be using a hacksaw to try and cut this open. I would use like a grinder or a sawzall, but I don't want that to fling oil everywhere. And you can get tools that are specific for cutting these open, but I don't have one, so this is what I'm going to use. Sawzall. Hacksaw is big no-go, so we're going to try the sawzall. That's a big no-go too. It keeps wanting to chop my finger off. So that's nice. So after doing some quick research, turns out 10 snips is the ticket. So apparently Alright, well, I got it open, but not without, like, almost cutting my hand open. So that was avoided. The way these oil filters work is the oil goes in these outer holes and then it comes out the center. So your oil filter has oil go in this way and then out the center. So if you are going to see, like, metal shards or anything, it's going to be in these pleats. So you're going to pull the pleats apart. As you can see, it's hard to see with the lighting, but I can't really grab it and move the camera right now because my hands are covered in oil. But there is absolutely nothing in this filter other than it being kind of gross, and obviously it has been through enough and was ready for replacing. And what you can also do is just tear it apart like I just did, and you can just open it up accordion style. There you can see it better. So if stuff does get trapped, it's going to get trapped in, like, the center of one of these pleats. So as you guys see, other than me almost like sawing my hand off, the oil filter's good. I already got the next oil filter back on. I just got to fill the motor up. But it looks pretty healthy for a motor with almost 250,000 miles on it. You guys will probably see on my Instagram when the car actually does cross over 250,000. It's like 500 miles away, but motor looks good, so I'm happy. It endured race week with no issues, no motor blowing up, nothing. But that oil leak is something I want to get on. If you guys have any comments or know how to get rid of an oil leak like that on a D series, let me know.